All right, we're here at Paul's house. Did he do a color change? I don't know. Stick around. Buckle up, put it in gear. Let's get the show on the road. All right, you've heard us talk about Fred, and here is the man. Fred, how you doing, Fred?
Good, how are you guys doing?
We're here going to talk about his car a little bit before we get to the other one. He didn't color change it. Ryobi green is still right there. So what year is this one, Fred?
It's a 1970.
And it's an early car.
It's serial number 5689.
Now, Paul has talked about early stuff on the early cars before, and I've already noticed the emblems on the side are 240Z rather than the circle.
Right.
You've got the vents back here in the hatch. But something he didn't tell me about.
I think his car would have this, and then later on they moved to the little finger grab.
Did you want your car to be absolutely factory perfect, or did you just kind of take some liberties?
No, I took a few liberties. I mean, the wheels and the tires, obviously.
I love them.
It's got a few poly bushings, but mostly rubber. I changed all the bushings in the suspension. The engine is stock. Honestly, not much is far from factory on it.
And it's here today because you guys put on the new stainless steel bumpers.
Correct. I got the same bumpers that Paul got.
What was wrong with your others? I saw the other one.
The rear one was actually really nice. I had it re-chromed a few years ago, but my front bumper has always been less than perfect, so I decided to make them match.
Yeah. And your interior, how much of that is from the actual car?
Everything is original except the seats and the carpet. Excuse me. Excuse the mess. But the vinyl's all original. You can see I have a cracked dash. The console, everything's original.
Are you against putting one of those covers?
I'd like to get it reformed. I'm not against the covers. I've just never done it.
And it's a standard. It was a standard from the factory?
Yes. It is a 5-speed, even though it's got a 4-speed knob on it. I did upgrade it just because I drive this car a lot on the interstate, and I was tired of hearing it screaming.
Right.
So that helped a little bit.
That lowered the RPMs quite a bit, I'm sure.
A few hundred. Not as much as I had hoped, but
yeah.
It's better.
And again, the taillight panel, Paul told us, is not black. I see yours is black. Was that one thing that you wanted?
It is. I didn't know whenever I restored this car, I wasn't sure. I didn't have the guide that is out now to point me in the right direction.
You
for
need
colors.
that book Paul has.
So yes, absolutely.
So how long have you had the car?
I bought the car in August of 2005. I went and got it in September of 2005. I bought it on eBay for $330.
Ooh, eBay.
Out of Corpus Christi, Texas. Drove and got it. Brought it home, made it run, drove it around a little bit. In the condition it was in, it had a lot of rust spots, but not in any of the usual places. All those places on this car were good. It was a bunch of random other things.
Yeah.
So took it apart, fixed all that. I had an ambitious goal to get it done, to go to the MIDI at the end of April of 2006.
Yeah.
I mean, I've looked. April 11th, it went to its first car show at Giles. It had no bumpers on it. It was in pieces. But
was it painted?
It was painted by that point, but it was still a work in progress.
Yeah.
I didn't make my goal of the end of April, but shortly after that, it was together and running.
Yeah.
And back together.
Well, that's Paul's goal as well, to get to the MIDI and at the end of April. I think he's going to make it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I think there's going to be some time to spare.
Paul's progress is a lot faster than mine.
So it wasn't that bad off when you had a pretty good car to start with.
It was. I had another Z before this one that was much, much rustier. And then whenever I saw this one and got it, I determined very quickly that this was the car that deserved it.
Yeah, this
My
one.
labor.
Yeah, I got it. But it's beautiful. How much of this engine is factory correct?
Other than it being painted, and lacking the smog pump and all the stuff up here that's missing, it's stock.
And this wasn't an air-conditioned car?
No.
But they did come with air conditioning?
They had dealer-installed air conditioning, I believe. And but this car never had a sign of it. being installed. I would love it, but
And do you plan on going to the Midi with Paul?
oh yeah,
So it's going to be beautiful to see.
I can't wait to see them
these
together.
two colors together,
Yeah.
just cruising out there. Speaking of Paul's, let's get under his. It's up in the air. Going to talk to Paul about what's going on underneath. All right, so here's Paul. It's in the air. What have you done under it? Have you done anything under it?
No, just lifted it today.
Just lifted it.
Put it up today because we finally have enough weight on the car to hold the front down. It was a little bit back heavy originally because it had so much meat back here hanging out and there was zero in the front. So now we've by putting the doors together and such, and a lot of the interior, and you'll see in a minute the dash is in, that transfer the weight far enough that if I was to go to the front right now, I would have to really put some effort into making it even lean.
Right. So there are some repairs under here. You want to show those before you do the undercoating, right?
So he repaired the spare tire well, and you can see that here. This was rusted here. So he replaced this and the dog leg and the rocker outers and one of the fenders in this area. You can see this weld line and these frame rails all have been redone, both sides. Really nice job of doing that. So there was and also if we move up front, the battery box is new. So that's also been replaced. So he did a lot of work. Everything under the belt line of this thing was rusty initially.
Undercoating, it's going to be this rough and it's going to be black. Is that correct?
Yes, this line here is where it's going to stop. That'll be black, undercoated. All of this will get back undercoated for rock protection, sound deadening. What undercoat's for? It's just a protective coating.
Right. And yeah, I can see what we've talked about where they kind of just let the overspray go.
Yeah, originally the factory just kind of blew it in there,
So the car's down. It took forever because it's so light and his lift just was moaning like crazy trying to get it down. Yeah. Door is all together except for the window crank. Is that right?
Yeah, this door is. All I have left to do, the window crank, it started aggravating me, so I stopped trying to get it to snap in place. I'll start on that again tomorrow and try to keep my blood pressure down.
And this door panel is the one that we showed you guys in a box last time we saw it.
Yeah, this is completely 100, there's a little stuff on there, but it's completely 100% clipped in. Everything has been lubricated inside the door. The plastic sheet has been installed under this, and you now have a pull handle. This is completed.
And your little rubber seal here that we've talked about before.
Yeah, these went on real nicely. They fit actually very well. The front one, if you can see it, there's I just have some little push pins to put in here, but this seals against the body and stops any kind of wind noise or turbulence that you might have.
Right. Everything is new on this door. Is this a light or is this a vent?
No, that's called a dovetail. What that does is if you look at the striker, it rides up on that nylon spring and actually helps the door lift up because it's a really long weight on the end of the door.
It looks like it could be a light shining down. That's why I thought that, but that's probably
I should
too
put one
modern.
in it.
Yeah, there you go. I've made a new part for the Z.
Right. I already have too much to do. Never mind.
Dashboard is back in. Is that, I see pedals. You got the pedal box in?
Correct. Pedal box is in, heater's in, all that is permanently installed, and actually the brake and clutch master cylinders are now installed. So at that point, it's time to put the dash in. The dash is penciled in at this moment, but it is ready to be bolted in fully.
So is that the last time this dashboard is in? Or you don't need to take it out again for anything else, right?
I don't think so. I think we can actually start to bolt it down. I put one bolt up, hold it in place. But I think now we can start to make sure that it's seated properly and start to put pieces in. The wiring is hanging over there. That connects to the body harness. The engine harness will connect to the center part, and everything should start coming together.
And I see you finished your strut tower cover on the passenger side. Looks nice. That's the part that you made in the last episode.
That's in, and also these trim panels are being fitted. Once this is, what am I waiting? Oh, this gasket. I need to put this gasket in, and then these panels here can actually be installed permanent.
And I see the speaker grill holes for the one speaker that goes in this car you're not putting in, right?
I'm not only not putting the speaker in, but I'm going to put a piece of plastic or something behind the speaker holes, and then put Dynamat on the panel, and that'll thicken the panel and keep any kind of noise from coming through these speaker holes. These are aftermarket panels. If you look at Fred's, they're factory panels that are a lot neater. These just, aftermarket stuff doesn't fit quite as well, but it's what you can get.
I see the lower belt line molding is on. How did that go?
It was tedious because not only was this really scratched up and corroded, this is stainless steel, but this was like plastic. It was just hardened and crumbly. The felt on the inside of it was just deteriorated. It was horrible. So I removed this. A little bit of what I've been doing today. You can see this piece of trim is nice and shiny. The rubber is nice and soft. This looks like it should as basically a brand new piece, but this is a refurbishment. Here's what the part originally looked like. You can see the stainless is really dull. The rubber is falling apart. This was the original felt. The rubber itself, you can see, I could just break it away. It's brittle and old. It's held in by these staples across the back. The kit comes with new rubber, nice and soft. The felt on the back is all brand new and really nice. And then this little metal strip and some staples. So really tedious. I have to cut all the staples off, pull all those out, get rid of the old rubber, and then the holes don't line up with the factory holes, so had to re-drill the piece of trim to match up with these holes. Then you super glue this to the piece of trim and punch staples through, put it all back together. And that's all after repolishing the stainless. I've ground off all the staples. You can see the staple part is gone. Now I can just, probably have to use a screwdriver to kind of pry them off and then pop out all the ends of the old staples. Now to go polish. But really tedious, but it came out super nice, like brand new. It just touches the window perfectly, seals out any water and wind. And I'll roll the window down. You can kind of see how everything functions. So nice and smooth, everything functions just like fresh. It goes right up into the felt welting there. And
You mean there's no button to press for that window to go down?
no, there's no electric windows, believe it or not.
Man, I can't believe there's.
Yeah, you literally have to work at it.
Press the button. Press it.
Yeah, you have to. It's very time consuming and exhausting, but you do have to turn the crank to make it come up.
All right, we're going to get this one back up in the air. We're going to put Fred's under it and show you the difference between the two colors. Well, we talked about the cars. I hope you guys liked watching. We got something really special for next episode, so stay tuned. And until then, just drive it.